Hey everybody, Gary McGowan here, your realtor, your friend, looking to help people and support people in any which way I can, real estate wise and investment wise. You know, have you ever been looking at investment properties and thought to yourself, if I just knew how to analyze the property, if I had an Excel spreadsheet or a Pro-Forma so I could put in my own numbers and work that? Well, years and years ago when I started investing in real estate, about 10, 12, 13 years ago, I created a form and I still use that same Excel sheet today. And I'm going to show you how I use it, when I use it, and how to use it right now. Well, we got lots to go through, so I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been reaching out to us on YouTube and connecting with us and leaving comments and sending me nice messages back. I love doing videos like this, and if there's anything that you want to know about, whether it's investments or real estate, stock market, whatever's going on in your area, let me know. I'd love to do a video or love to chat with you about that. And do subscribe and hit that like button, just like all those other YouTube videos say. Do it for us here. I would greatly appreciate that. And you can stay connected with us that way. And for people that have been reaching out to me, thank you so much. I love connecting with people. This is another way that we can connect and help you along and answer some of those real estate questions that you might have. And you've been asking, and I've been sending you the information, you know, who should I connect to in Montreal? What realtor should I connect to in Edmonton? What realtor should I connect to in downtown Toronto for condos? And I got something brewing on the condo side or pre-construction around the GTA that I'm really excited about and going to be able to share with you real soon. Let's jump into investment property and Pro-Formas. And I have an Excel spreadsheet here. Yeah, I said spreadsheet, so get excited about a spreadsheet. I know that's how can that happen? It's going to happen. And I'm excited to show you how I use this spreadsheet. And I've been using it for, it's got to be 10 plus years now, this exact one. So let me just share my screen. There we go. Screen share. Yeah. 123 Gary Street. One of my favorite houses. Yeah. Cheers to that. Okay. Here's my favorite spreadsheet of all. We're going to go through it line by line so you understand how to input the information. And then of course, understand the information that it is putting out, spitting out, whatever it looks like. But this spreadsheet literally takes me about 2 minutes to fill out. And within that 2 minutes, I know if I'm going to take it the next step in analyzing that investment property. So every yellow cell that you see on the spreadsheet here, that's a cell that you can input your information to. And the first one that I always like doing is basing any investment analysis over 5 years. And you can change this to 7 years, 777 years. You can change it to 1 year, whatever you are most comfortable with. I like 5 years, and I can explain that in another video, but I always base mine investment properties over 5 years. And the next thing that we're going to look here is, of course, the purchase price. So on this particular one, we're looking at a $750,000 purchase price. And then next, we're going to look at the financing piece of it. And as you can see here, that loan to value, I have it currently set for 80%. You can change that to whatever you like, 60%, 80%, whatever it is. You can use your information there from what you know that you're going to qualify a mortgage for. If you put it higher than 80%, it won't do the CMHC calculation for you. So you're going to have to get that extra information. But this, as we all know, minimum down payments is 20% in Canada for investment properties. And of course, there's the amortization. You can change that to 10 years, 20 years, 25, whatever it is that you're going to be getting. So of course, that takes us to a $600,000 first mortgage, as you can see here. I do have other spreadsheets I've used in the past where perhaps we're doing a second mortgage as well. You can add that in there simply, you know, if you're Excel, if you have Excel experience, you can certainly add that line there. Now, the next section is going to talk about our down payment funds, the investment, and that's this section right here that you see. And what I love about that, looking at it line by line, well, my down payment is going to be 20% because I'm getting a first mortgage of 80%, so that makes sense. And I should know anytime that there's a little red triangle in the top of the cell, you can hover over it and it'll give you slightly more information of that cell. So I just want to make sure you knew that. 20% is going to be my down payment. Of course, that's $150,000. Land transfer tax is going to calculate that for me if I'm in Ontario. If you're in the Toronto area, if you're buying properties in Toronto, basically rule of thumb, just double that. There's online calculators. You can get that very specific number. So you can research that yourself. Legal costs, I tend to do that at about $1,500. Reserve fund is something I like to have in all of my investment properties. And how I calculate that is I'm going to take 2 months of income, and that's going to create my reserve fund. So whatever that income is, double that, and now you've got a reserve fund. And I like calling it that rainy day fund. You never know when that furnace is going to die on you, or you're not getting paid rent and you need to pay your mortgage. You have bills to pay. Whatever that rainy day fund is, it's important to have, and it's important to create that in your investments. Moving along, of course, when we're buying properties, we do inspections and appraisals, so you can adjust your pricing there if need be. Renovations, I'm always like doing some sort of renovations to investment properties, so we're just, for the sake of this example, $10,000. There's always other things that we're looking at when buying investment properties. Use this line. Once you know what that other is, change it so you're very specific on what it is, because accountants will tell you never want the line other. You want to be very specific. So with all that said, I know that my down payment funds is $181,000. That's what I need to close on this property. That, to me, I can get that number within seconds of putting in these numbers, these yellow cells there. I love this, love it. So once we know that, we can go look at the monthly. And that's what this next section is right here as I scroll up. This section right here is going to calculate everything by monthly and, of course, over our 5-year. And I'm going to go through this as well with you. Total monthly rental income for this property is $3,500, and from there we can go put in our expenses. Now, our first expense is going to be our mortgage, and right now it's sitting at 3.25. I can change this to 3%. You can see that number change there. So there's a mortgage calculator in the background figuring all that information out for you. Property tax, $3,500. That's pretty low on a property at $750, but that's okay. Insurance, $1,800. We got hydro, gas, water, sewer. So all of the utilities that you need for a property, that's all in there. There's that other line again. And again, once you know what that is, be very specific of what that line item is. And of course, we've got vacancy, which is always important to calculate your vacancy into your Pro-Formas. Maintenance on the property, whether it's brand new or 100 years old, you're going to have maintenance on that property. And of course, it all depends on the state of the property of when you're buying it and what renovations you're going to do to it. So you might adjust that accordingly. Typically, the older the property, the more maintenance you're going to have. Property manager, we always include that, even if we manage the property ourselves. We put that budget line in there. And here's our rule of thumb. If it's a multifamily property, we are going to hire a property manager. If it's a single family property, we'll probably self-manage it because it's a lot easier to self-manage a single family versus multifamily. We can do another video for that for sure. But for this property, you're probably seeing a lot of red here, and the accountants that are watching this will say red is never good, never ever good. Well, we're going to circle back to that in a second and perhaps allow you to look at this a little bit differently. But this is what I like. It's very visual. I'm a visual guy. I love that this is visual. And maybe this is a single family home where my tenants are going to be paying those utility costs, or in any situation, I want to hand over those utility costs to my tenants. So I'm not going to have hydro, gas, water, sewer, and I can just quickly delete it. And just like that, that's how fast you can make changes to this spreadsheet. So now looking at this line item here, this column here rather, you know that my monthly income is $3,500. There's all my expenses lining up right here. And if I had to spend all of those expenses every month, I would be negative $96.14 every month just looking at this right here. Now, as I said, I'm going to circle back to that in a second. Now, if I'm okay with that, I'm going to move forward and I want to see what my 5-year numbers are going to look like. So I know over the 5 years, it's calculating all of this. Well, let's go look at the numbers based on selling the property in 5 years. Okay, this next section is the profit and sale. And this is where it's going to provide us with the amount of equity that we've created so we can sell the property, look at it, and then look at our returns. So what I know is in the area, I like being conservative when I'm doing performers. And anywhere in Canada, we've had strong real estate sales over the last couple of years, especially here in the Toronto area. We've seen numbers, the appreciation numbers, much higher than the 5% that I have right here. And we're seeing numbers in the 20s and so forth. But I ask you this, is that sustainable over the long term? Do I want to base a whole performer on that? The answer is no. Never, 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 never. So I'm going to do something much more conservative, much more typical to our real estate market when viewed over the last 30 or 40 years. And I like using 5%. You can use higher if you like, if you know that area is stronger, or if you really want to be conservative, or if it's a slower moving area, use something less than 5. So 5% appreciation after repair value. So what did our property start at on day one or after we've done the renovations? So if you recall, we purchased the property at $750. We did $10,000 worth of renovations. Maybe it was painting, some updates that needed to happen. So I know that property is valued at least $760,000. But if I'm a savvy real estate investor, I put $10,000 in it, I don't want that dollar back. I want that to come back at 2 times, 3 times that number, whatever that looks like. But for the sake of this example and being conservative, we're going to start it at $760. So I know in 5 years, this property, based on appreciation at 5% a year, of course, that's compounding every year, it comes in at just under $969,974. Beautiful. And in the background, we've been paying down the mortgage. So our mortgage, if you recall, it started at $600,000, and now after 5 years, we're down to $512,000. So I say, we've been paying it down. No, our tenants have been paying it down. And if I'm looking to close this or sell this property, we're going to have to discharge the mortgage and close with a lawyer. So there's $1,500 there in expenses to legal. Reserve fund, I'm going to assume that we use that. Again, conservative, be conservative. We assume we had to use it. Maybe a tenant didn't pay us on time 1 month or what have you, and we had to do some work there, so that's gone. Our initial investment of $181,000, of course, we need to deduct that. We're going to sell this through a realtor, so realtor commissions and HST, there's $54,000. That leaves us with a net profit here of $219,000. Now, I say net, but I was a little premature on that because I'm going to show you something in just a moment. That's pretty good. Almost $220,000 over the 5 years is what we've been able to create after all these expenses. Now, these are all, of course, pre-tax dollars. Everyone's going to have their own tax implications. So we're just looking at it from a performer perspective. Now, let's look at the summary. I know that this property is going to earn great equity and create great opportunity over the 5 years, definitely. And I want us to look at something. We know that our initial investment was $181,000. Our total cash on cash return is actually negative $5,768. And remember, over the 5 years, we had to prop that property up, per se, about $96 a month. So are you okay in investing an additional $5,700 or $5,768 to get up to $213,000, right? So I'm going to deduct that right here from the 219, which takes us to the $213,000. That's a question that is a personal question. You have to ask yourself that. Am I okay to invest an additional $5,000 so I can earn the $213,000? Me, I think I'd be okay with that. Others, perhaps not. If you're only buying 1 or 2 properties, yeah, you might be okay with that. But if you're buying 10 or 20 properties, maybe you're not okay with that. So make sure you're looking at it through the right set of lenses, if you will. Well, here's what I know. The total ROI from a percentage standpoint over the 5 years is 118%. That is phenomenal. Quick, easy math, divide by 5. That takes us to 23.61% ROI. That's your return. That's what that average return is every year. To me, I'm taking a next step and looking at this property. That to me, that's why I love this spreadsheet so much, is because within minutes, I know whether or not this property, I'm going to move forward with it or move on to the next. Now, I'm going to warn you, be careful with spreadsheets, because all of these cells, you saw how easy it was for me to change the number. We can always change the numbers to tell the story that we want it to tell us, right? We can always make it look positive. So be very careful of how you input the numbers. Be conservative of when you're inputting the numbers. And then, of course, as every spreadsheet should be, go through it, verify that these numbers are correct. And if you need help with that, take it to an accountant, take it to a professional that understands how to read performers and read profit and loss statements. This is a great spreadsheet. I love it. I've been using it for 10 plus years, as I mentioned, and it has really allowed us to take our investments to the next level. Realtors, if you're out there, if you're watching this, use this spreadsheet, download this spreadsheet, fill it out for your clients, send it to them, and get them to use it. And I'm telling you, you will stand out from the crowd. Investors, use it, take it, download it, take it, make it better, send it back to me, ask questions. I would love for you to make this better, because I know somebody out there will do it, and I'm excited for that. So that's the spreadsheet. That's the Pro-Forma that we use. I love this Pro-Forma. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm so excited for the people that are going to use this, because it's going to change their investment strategy in a sense that they're going to be able to make faster decisions, because sometimes we don't have a lot of time to make decisions on property, especially over the last couple of years, right? So there you have it. Download that spreadsheet. Here's the URL where you can download that. Of course, please remember to subscribe to us and like us on YouTube, and have a lot of fun. Share this spreadsheet with your colleagues and different investors. And thanks for watching. We'll see everybody on the next video. Bye for now.